You'll get it, man. It sucks, but you'll get it.
The way I look at it, like I felt the same way, like just for op one of this part. Like I was like, where do I even start?
Yeah, I remember.
Um,
Well, I
and
remember
like,
we've had issues with like almost every op.
yeah, pretty much.
Like these are
um,
a giant pain in the ass.
by far my most difficult part ever. Like, just 7 ops. What? Like, I just was telling my cousin, he's like, "Are you done with those parts yet that you've been just nonstop talking about?" And um, I'm like, "Let me explain something real quick." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "You know the parts that you helped me run, which were like a 2 op part, and he just ran all the op ones." And I'm like, "That's 2 operations." And he's like, "Okay, these are 7." And he's like, "How do you even flip a part 7 times?"
They're like, oh, buddy, I'll
Yo,
tell you what.
buddy, let me tell you something.
Oh man.
Anyways, this is within tolerance. I'm just gonna jump right into this one. So this is episode 59, and yeah, I'm dealing with some craziness. Dylan's over here helping me try to stay sane as much as possible, as usual. And all this is going on while I'm being bombarded with memes, which is just fantastic.
It has honestly made my last 2 days so awesome. Like I think people at work must think I'm insane because I'm just sitting there like cackling to myself at my desk.
Yeah.
But oh man, I have just been dying. Like, thank you guys so much for participating and really putting some thought into these memes. Like, they've called back some stuff from episodes ago, and like, oh, it's been so good.
Yeah, freaking Drew texted me and he was like, "Aren't these memes brutal?" And like there was a couple that I hadn't seen yet, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like I guess I was, like I was planning for this." And then I checked like our story and I was like, "Oh, oh." I'm like, "Whoa, guys, whoa." I see how this is gonna be. And I was like, I text back, I'm like, "Oh, I see what you mean now." And I was
and
like,
for anybody who hasn't seen them all, they are all saved on a hashtag WTP meme save story on our Within Tolerance profile. So go over there and check all the ones you missed out because they've been fantastic.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't know if that's the right word, but there's something.
oh man, it was so funny because I think Easton was the one that did me as a douchebag Dave or whatever,
Oh yeah,
and
is that what? I don't know who that is, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, and he because like right before he sent one of those, I think it was him. He was like, "Man, people are kind of ripping on Peyton hard. Like you deserve something too." So yeah, it's oh actually maybe it was Andy who was it because he even posted a meme about that. It was like nice friendly meme contest, vicious probing memes.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny.
Yeah, there's been some really good ones. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll look back through them once everyone's done posting them, and I'll be like, all right. A couple of the ones Danny did. He's been, for those that don't know, Um, Danny and I have like a feud going on in DMs constantly. We're constantly bashing against each other. I swear, and it's hilarious.
oh yeah,
Um,
his long drill one in Hostile.
oh
Like
yeah,
I died at that one.
I sent him that. I'm like, okay, this is good, and yeah, we have our little conversation.
Yeah, there's been such good ones. Like yeah, I'm just impressed all around and love our audience. It's fantastic. So, anybody who hasn't participated, you have till this Friday, which is August 7th, and we're gonna close it and then deliberate this weekend. And on the next episode, we'll release who the winners are. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but thanks for everybody for participating so far. And if you got an idea and you just haven't had time, you still got a couple days to get it in.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, other than meme contest central over here, what else is new with you?
Well, speaking of probing,
Oh my
I did want to share this story. So the parts that I was working on this last weekend, there were only 2 ops, but they were fairly large and really thin and needed to be parallel within 4 thou, I think. Parallel and flat within 3 or 4. I'd have to go back and check. But I realized after the second op that I had forgotten a corner radius in one of them. Like I had checked maybe 8 or 9 of these corner radiuses in this pocket. It's a really large open pocket with a bunch of different turns and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I could fit an 1/8 inch into all of these. And then I don't even know how I caught it, but I caught it because I was just happened to be listening to my little chamfer mill, and it like sounded really loud in one corner. I was like, "Huh, it's only supposed to be doing like a 6 thou chamfer. What's going on?" I pulled it out and saw a really heavy chamfer in this one corner, and it turned out that I needed to use a 16th in just one corner on this thing, and I
Oh,
just
wow.
happened to miss it on every simulation and every check I did. And anyway, I did a second op, flipped it back over in the same jaws, probed it for center, probed it for Z, and was able to put the 16th in there with almost no visible blend between the walls and the floor and anything. And like it was, I think it ended up being a 30-second cycle to put that corner radius in, and it worked perfectly. So it was just another story I wanted to share since you're struggling on parts. Um,
Dude, probing won't save me with these.
it could help. It could definitely
That's
help.
true.
It could at least tell you when things are going haywire.
Wait, how big was the chamfer tool? What diameter?
1/8.
I'm surprised you heard that.
Yeah, I totally am too. Like I just happened to be by the machine and was like looking in, and I was like, huh, that didn't sound right. And yeah,
Yeah, more like
so
you heard it, more like because it was probably silent the whole time.
yeah, exactly. So it was just one of those stories I wanted to share because it was fairly easy to program. The setup, literally, I didn't have to change anything between the second op and the rework op because I was probing for Z anyway, and the Z difference was 70 or 75 thou, and so I just let it probe that first part for Z coming from the wrong Z origin. Like the Z origin was technically 75 thou above where I needed it to be, but because I was probing, it didn't matter. And then it just ran the first part perfect, and then I just ran the rest of the lot. I was like, sweet, all right, done. And what could have been a giant pain, like if I had to indicate a hole in or indicate and reset Z on every part, it would have just been. I mean, it still wasn't a ton of parts, but like it still would have just been painstaking. Whereas this, I was like, all right, done. Like I'll go load a part every 30 seconds and call it a day.
That kind of gets into a question we got from Zimmer Design. What tenth do you trust your probe to, or a probe to?
Oh yeah, because so he'd commented or messaged just like talk about probing, and I think it was just to bother you. And I was like, well, actually, I have a story about probing that I'm already going to share. So what do you want to know? And he was like, yeah, what tenth do you trust the probe to? Um, like especially on smaller diameters, and really it just comes down to the probe itself. Like Renishaw has different probes that are more accurate than others. Like the OMP series are all touch trigger probes, and so they have their own accuracy. I want to say it's really low though. It's a lot more accurate than you would expect. I'd have to go dig up the manual again to find it. But like if I'm doing tight tolerance work, I'm definitely gonna slow everything down. I'm gonna calibrate my probe right before I use it, and calibrate it at the same speed that I'm gonna use in the program. I trust it to like a couple tenths probably,
Okay.
but like the strain gauge ones, I think it's Ren gauge series. Those ones are significantly more accurate. Like it's the same technology that's in like real high end CMMs, where it's a stress strain gauge. So it's like the way the Hexagon salesman described it was a CMM in a CMM, and so like the tip of those things, instead of just so let me back up. The touch trigger points, like the OMPs, the way it works is that there's 3 contact points on the inside of that shaft, and then there's 3 more or less gel pockets that kind of stabilize the shaft. And when you deflect the probe in any direction, it makes contact. It either makes contact or loses contact. I think it makes contact with one or more of those connections and triggers a point. So when you're on a contact, like perpendicular to a contact, there is a slightly different bit of trigger force than there is when you're going between the two contacts. Like if you think of like a triangle, like those are your contact points, and it takes a little bit more force to trigger a point between those than it does on one. I believe it is what it is. Um,
Okay.
Whereas a stress strain gauge one, like the Ren gauge ones, it has a stress gauge in there that is measuring the force on the tip at all points. And so when it takes a point, it actually starts taking a point, realizes it's contacted something, moves into the point till there is a force maximum, and then backs out and pretty much plots that graph of force and sees where the maximum force was and knows that that is your point. So like it's actually averaging like technically, 100 points or 50 points or something like that, and making the most accurate point it can from that data. So they're significantly more accurate than a touch trigger point probe. But again, that also gets into how accurate is your machine, how recently was it ball bar tested or laser calibrated. But just the probe itself can also be a really big difference.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool thing this week. And then the other thing I did yesterday, I went in. So I think I posted on my stories and talked to you last week about getting a new monitor for our programming station.
Think
Um,
so.
yeah, we went from like a, I don't know, 20-inch screen to adding a 32-inch high def panel, IPS panel. And then so now I've got dual screens at the programming station. And then one thing that came up, and actually it was a really weird coincidence. I don't know if you listened to the last bomb, but they were talking about like adding either workstations or tablets to access their ERP and work.
I've
And
not listened to that.
okay, so they were talking, Saunders is creating his own ERP. John, I think, still has ProShop or is creating one with his dad. Anyway, they wanted to have workstations so that people can more readily access data, like, open orders or order tools or whatever. And concurrently, and unbeknownst to me, Brad and I had been talking because he really wanted to know like what our open orders were. Like I do most of our quoting and stuff through my email, and unless I wrote it down somewhere or told it to him, like all of our current orders are just in my head, more or less.
Yeah.
And so he is constantly surprised that like, oh, we're ahead of schedule on that, or oh, we're behind on that, or oh, I didn't even know that an order existed, or like, why am I going to IMS to pick up material? Like, who is this for? That kind of stuff. And so I went back and bought another one of those 32-inch screens and a Asus Chrome bit, I think it's called. It looks like a big USB stick, and it's just a HDMI plug into the monitor, and it becomes a Chrome OS device.
Huh.
And then I created a um, current or open orders spreadsheet on Google Sheets. And so now I'm going to have that constantly up in our inspection room.
It's
We'll be
like
able
your
to pull up.
fast food screen.
Right, exactly. So we'll have that open all the time. He can always see, what's the highest priority, when it was quoted, when it was promised, if the material ordered, if the tooling is ordered, part numbers, total parts, and then a description, and then the status of it. And then in addition to that, I'll be able to use it to pull up prints from customers, like while I'm inspecting parts, rather than I don't know how many times I have to like print out a print or run back and forth to the computer to figure out what I'm actually inspecting. And now it's just right there. So it really was, I think a couple $100 for everything all said and done. I got a nice little TV stand or a monitor stand for it with an arm. I got the screen, and then the Chrome bit was $60, I want to say. Oh, and I got a cheap USB wireless keyboard with a trackpad built in.
Wow. Yeah.
So it should really, really make. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like a giant change day to day, but like Brad will be more involved in like what is currently on the schedule. He'll understand. Like he won't be texting me like, "Hey, what is this?" or "Why are we doing this?" or "What are we waiting for on this?" Like he'll know every step along the way, and then also just inspecting and printing shipping labels and stuff. We should all be able to do all of that from the office instead of going back and forth to the shop floor, which will be great.
Yeah, that I think everyone listening, and of course both of us, need to be more willing to, like you said, spend a couple $100 to get that tablet or that screen or whatever it is that it's going to help you. You're just too shy to fork out the money.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, and we had a whiteboard that we had bought a while ago that we had been writing stuff on, like, oh, I need to order this tool, or oh, I need to do this. But we had never put it back up in the office after we had to move it. And, I wanted something that was like, I can edit this while I'm, at home or something like that and add orders to it. Whereas if it was a whiteboard, I have to remember every time I'm there to write.
I was about to say, yeah, you're going to forget to erase things or.
Yeah. And I'm also going to make a spreadsheet. I just need to come up with a template of things that need to be ordered, because there's so many times where Brad and I will, we'll be out to lunch or we'll be working in the shop and be like, oh, we need to order, a new deburring wheel. And be like, yeah, yeah, great idea. And then of course it takes us 3 weeks to do it because we constantly forget.
Yeah.
So now like I'll half screen the current jobs and I'll half screen an ordering list, and then we can just put stuff in there and I can look at it from home and order whatever needs to be ordered and then cross it off the list.
Yeah.
So I'll take a picture and post it on my stories. I didn't quite wrap everything up the way I want to. I end up having to kind of redo the whole inspection workbench because I had my surface plate and my height master in front of the screen, or where I wanted to put the screen. And so I had to move some things around. So it's still a little bit of a mess on one side of the desk. But once I fixed it, I'll do a little post on it because, yeah, for the money, it makes so much sense, and I'm really really happy with it.
Well, yeah, and as well as I do, things like that, you might not like it where it's at. It might end up somewhere else or get moved around, and that's just once you start using it, you'll figure out what works best.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it what is that saying? No battle plan survives contact with the enemy. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how I view that. Is like I shared it to Brad last night, and he hasn't said anything yet. But I'm sure like the first time we're both in the shop, he's like, "Well, why did you do it this way? Like, why did you put that?" And
Yeah.
I'll be like, "I don't know. I thought it looked cool, or I thought that's how I wanted it."
Yeah.
So we'll see, but definitely something I think I'm really going to be happy with. I'm not sure, like you said, I'm not sure what it's going to end up with or what it's going to end up looking like down the road. But right now, man, it looks great, and it forced me to reorganize the bench, which is great. And I'm happy.
It beat the current system. That's all that matters.
Yeah, the current system of nothing was not hard to
Exactly.
beat.
Yeah. You're making a
So
step in the right direction.
yeah. So what about you? How, besides these parts, is anything rolling on Legos, or are you just kind of trying to get through this last order before you can get back to that stuff?
Yeah, about that. It was interesting though. I was running these parts last night and I had a piece of paper and I thought of something. I was like, oh, I'll write it down like a to-do list item. And I was out there for probably like, I don't even know, 12 hours or something. And like, I filled up this post-it in every diagonal possible direction I could with just thoughts, like things I was like, I need to do this. This needs to get done. I need to buy this. Boom, boom, boom. And like, it was crazy how like, what is it? I think it was Jay that always is like, get those ideas, like get stuff out of your head that's like useless more or less, so you can have more room to be creative and stuff like that. Um, and I was just like pounding out all these things. I'm like, I need to just do this, this, this. And I couldn't do much because this was like a 4 minute cycle time. And by the time I load it, like it's just already done, it feels like. And I had to do that 100 times. But man, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just interesting. And then I was like, I need to start reading a book because I finished, what book did I finish? I finished the 75 hard book, and then I was like, I need a book, and I don't know where one of my books went, so I'm like, I'm gonna go find the E-Myth, and there's like been some memes about it and stuff like that, but like I had started reading this like probably 3 months ago, and I had read like the first couple chapters, and I don't know if this is a sign of like something, but like this first chapter that I picked up, like, let's see if I can find it here. I have the book right now. It's like, here's a quote. And so you work 10, 12, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even when you're at home, you're at work. All your thoughts, all your feelings revolve around your new business. You can't get it out of your mind. You're consumed by it, totally invested in doing whatever is necessary to keep it alive. And I was like, okay. And then, and then this next one, like a couple pages later, I'm like, all right. And it's like, infancy ends when the owner realizes that the business cannot continue to run the way it has been. That in order for, that in order for it to survive, it will have to change. And it just like went into like, and then this one, it was like, it's only a problem when the technician consumes all the other personalities, when the technician fills your day with work, when the technician avoids the challenge of learning how to grow a business. And like this whole chapter was just like, and then it's also like, boom, like if your business depends on you, you don't own a business. And it was just like, I literally, it was like, damn, like that was like probably the best 10 pages of reading that like opened my mind. Cause I'm like, this is not sustainable. I need to fix this. And like, this is literally saying that. And it's true. Like, if you, and he was talking about how, like, what happens if I have to go, like, or if I'm sick or something, like, the business just stops. Like, what, there's nothing in place for it to keep going on its own. Like, I am the business, which is a problem.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that first passage you wrote, that sounded like it was more or less calling you out by everything but name.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, so I don't know, like I read that and I'm just like, I have a whiteboard I'm looking at right now, and I have like, I've got to get this one order done. I've got another order after this, and then I'm gonna take a day and do my inventory day. I've been planning this, where I'm gonna recount everything, reorganize my room as far as inventory, all that fun stuff. Like, those are three big tasks, and my goal is to get, I'd like all that done by Monday.
Oof.
And you know how I am with this one order of parts. If I can get that done today, okay, that's done. I'm programming the second job now. That would take me like a day or two to run. So I think it's doable, but like I've learned, like things just come up and like slow you down. So that's why I gave myself a couple extra days there.
Yeah, I think that's best. Like, you can, I can't remember what the number is, but there's somebody who's like, you can only have really 3 or 4 things on your to-do list every day.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
otherwise you're just going to let yourself down.
Yeah, and then there's another part in this book where it was talking about like how if you're, let's say, like the manager of like a restaurant or something, and you get so busy and now all of a sudden you're slacking on like getting new customers, or you're slacking on like the food, or you're slacking on this and that, and like how you're so busy that like other parts of the business start to flop basically. And that's exactly what's happening. Like, my emails are all these people that are like, I wouldn't say complaining, but there's a lot of people like, I'm not shipping orders as quickly as I have been. There's people that have problems with their orders that I haven't had time to get to and address because I'm downstairs machining all day. And it's just like, this is a problem. Like, this needs to get resolved. And then like the other problem you could say would be like, I have all these DMs, like hundreds of DMs on BrickTactical being like, when is this product coming back in stock? When is this coming back in stock? And it's like, I wish I could tell you because I don't know.
So what's
Like,
the that is the problem, but what's your plan moving forward?
once I get these three things done, once these machining jobs are done, it's just a matter of doing it. Like, I've got the parts, I just got to print them.
Right. So you're gonna
Um,
you're still gonna continue forward and focus on the Lego for a little bit and get that back under control.
yeah, I would say I am totally admitting that it is not under control right now, and I need to be able to say it's under control. I need to have product on the shelf, have the right amount of product on the shelf, which is that inventory problem. And yeah, once stuff's like in stock and ready to go, like things will be good. But like I said, I'm still getting orders for the very few items that are on my website. And yeah, it's just, I don't even know. But like, that's my plan. I'm going to take it one step at a time.
Good, good. No, I'm glad because I hate seeing you as stressed as you have been. So it'll be nice to get you get you back out from under your hole, or out of your hole that you've been in.
Yeah, it's a weird position to be in. And it's like, I love seeing product go out the door. Like, I love, to an extent, I love packing orders because it's cool to be like, yes, like a product that I thought of, I took the time to develop, prototype, all throughout the process, develop, make, blah blah blah, package, and now a bunch of people are buying it. Like, that's very rewarding to me. But when I'm not selling stuff, obviously that's a problem, but like, it's not fueling like the fun side of it. It's like, this is cool, like people are buying stuff, and like, that's just kind of like, I wouldn't say taking a toll, but like, I miss that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as someone who has just recently gotten out of my own hole, I 100% empathize with you.
Yeah, I bet.
It's no fun. Like it, and we had talked about it. Maybe that's a good thing to bring up, is like the mentality when you're in one of these work holes, at least as like a business owner, is super toxic because you like
Oh
feel
my
super
god.
depressed about being late on all this stuff and having to interact with your customers when you're ashamed of what's been happening, and so that leads you to not wanting to work on things as much,
And then you
and
get
just like,
stressed because you're not working on them.
right, yeah, and you're not getting things done, and so you're not getting any closer to getting yourself out of stress, and it's this like super vicious cycle that is really really toxic. And like we talked about that maybe a week ago when you were just starting to realize like all of the work you had.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was trying to warn you. I was like, I am just getting out of this, or I'm just about to get out of this, and it is super toxic and it really sucks. But I'm glad to hear that you're almost out of it as well, because it's rough. It's super rough. And there is no other way to get out of it besides just working your ass off, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to like, I was really, to put it quite honestly, pissed that like this last op didn't go as planned. And I was like, crap, like another day is going to go by, and like, I just need to get these parts done. Like, I need these out of my life. And I was like, you know what? Hold on. Take a step back. Like, do something else. Like, Dylan can take a look at it, see what he thinks, and like, worst case, I get them done late tonight. Like, they'll still get done. Like, I just gotta like take a chill pill. I don't know what I need to take, but I'll take it. And like, just chill, and like, they're gonna get done. Like, you've had these roadblocks before. Like, you've been in worse ones, that's for sure. So like, just freaking get it done. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So speaking of other challenges, how is 75 hard going?
Honestly, that's going pretty well. I actually, for the past couple days, I've been completely done with like my daily stuff before like 8 o'clock,
Whoa, who are
which
you?
is like, I know, right? Like, first thing I do is like, I get up. I don't even eat breakfast like right away. I go straight on like either a walk or a bike ride, or I do a workout like first thing. Um, that way it's like, boom, one of them's done. Because my problem is, I get up and I get going and I want to start knocking stuff out, and then all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock and I have two workouts left.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was a problem. I'm like, this needs to be addressed. So did that. Um, the reading I've been doing while the machine's running, which is pretty easy to do.
Heck
Um,
yeah, killing two
so
birds with one stone right there.
yeah, so that's, I don't know. Reading's not that bad for me. The water, I do that easy. It's really just the two workouts for me. So like, I try to do one like either before or after dinner, depending on what I'm eating. Um, so like, it'll be done by 5 or 6, 7 max. Um, and then yeah, so that, I'm getting more under control about that, and I'm realizing like, okay, like today it's like 6:30 right now. I still got one workout left, so I can either finish this podcast and go straight to work, which will probably happen because I have high hopes here. But like either way, I got to get a 45-minute workout in. So do I want to do it now or do I want to do it later when I'm tired? So like regardless, it's got to get done. And like it's just like why wouldn't you do it earlier?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the workout really is the thing that has prevented me from starting it. Is like
Yeah.
I just don't have the time. Like I've said, I've been trying. I think for the last I don't know 2 or 3 months to drink a gallon of water a day,
Yeah.
and like that hasn't been too bad. But yeah, it's really just finding the time. So I'm glad to hear that you're getting that done earlier.
Yeah, I wanted to do something. So I finished reading that book and Brandon had sent me that. And if you're down for it, I want to start something and if you want me to send it to you, I can. And I want you to read the book and that'll give you some thoughts on the whole program too. And then I thought it'd be cool cuz Brandon put a nice note in the cover page for me and like you could put a note in there and sign it and we could like keep passing this thing around for all the people out there.
Yeah, I'm totally game.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm 100% game. That would be a lot of fun.
Now, I did highlight and bookmark a crap ton of pages, so feel free to do the same. But like, I do that on all my books, like little tidbits I try to highlight and remember. So it'd be cool if you even took like a different color highlighter and did the same thing. Anything that stands out to you.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I thought that'd be cool.
Awesome.
But yeah,
All right. Well, we knocked out one of the questions. Should we jump into those for a little bit?
yeah, let's do it.
So I actually got two questions about the kitty, both T5 manufacturing and Farmer Giles. Asked what the plan is to actually get the kitty out of the shop, and I think I mentioned it 2 or 3 episodes ago, or maybe an episode ago. But I started the model for the windows, so I need to get those cut locally to replace those. I've got a few little hoops to jump through to get it out. But really, it like T5 asked what's the thought process behind keeping the kitty, and it's not even really a thought process, it's just too busy and I guess not wanting to deal with it. But we're getting to the point where it's just way too much space to take up. Like I want that side of the shop back. I want to be able to move the brothers over there. So I'm that is moving its way up the priority list.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say something in regards to that. I can't remember. Yeah, but you need to get that thing gone. I think, like you said, we talked about it last time. Your kind of plan for moving your machines. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, yeah, I think it'll really help. Um, get the shop or more organized. We'll have a lot more room after that, like so much more room. I think we could almost fit both brothers into the same square footage as the kitty.
I bet.
Um, like I want more room, obviously, around each machine, but they are, you know, that different in size. Like the kitty has a pallet changer, it has a spindle chiller, it's got like a million hydraulic pumps and coolant pumps, and it's got the conveyor, and it's just
It's the beast.
yeah, it's just a pain. So, um, yeah, so that's kind of the plan, I guess. So the plan is just to get it out as fast as I can. I really just need to get those windows done. It's been on my to-do list for like probably 2 months now. Like, I mean, granted, it's been on my to-do list for like since November of last year, like when the brother showed up, but it's actually been on my to-do list app for like
It is
2 months
actually
now.
moved up.
Yeah, it's like visible on the to-do list. It's not just mental. So we're definitely gonna get going on that pretty soon. That, like I said, we're finally having some time to work on company projects like through Spindle and the Orange Plate and all that stuff. So it's getting up there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it might even be worth just taking some pictures and posting it wherever you think you're going to sell it just to start humoring people, just to get it out there.
Yeah, it's really not a bad idea. Um,
all of a sudden someone bites and says, "We'll take it. When can we get it?" And like you're like, "All right," like,
Oh, that would be so awesome.
just
Just to
yeah,
have it gone.
just price it accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I guess a good point too. I mean, we don't want like a whole bunch for it. I think
You just want
it's
it
still,
gone.
yeah, I want it gone, and it's still a really good machine. Like it still makes really tight tolerance parts, and it's got a decent spindle and a decent tool changer and a conveyor, and like it's a good machine. So we'll figure it out.
Yes. And then we have one, or all these I think are from T5 MFG. Is will you continue the video podcast? I haven't checked recently, but how many views did that get?
I think it got 200 about.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like right below 200 right now, and we gained 33 subscribers, which is cool. And so I don't know. I'd be more than happy to do video podcasts. Like I don't know if we do them every week like this, but maybe once or twice a month. I'm more than happy to do.
Yeah, or if our I think it can work with more than two people, right?
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. Like I think I have Meet as part of my Google Suite, but if I don't, then we'll have to figure out another platform for it. But yeah, that would be really cool to have guests on there too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll just have to figure it out.
Yeah, but I'm more than happy to do it. Like I enjoyed getting to talk to you semi face to face, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Then he also says favorite cordless tool brand. I'm a DeWalt guy.
I am also a DeWalt guy.
Okay, good. I thought you were gonna say something else, and I was like, I'm not dealing with an argument here. Be like, I'm Milwaukee or whatever. Be like, oh
No,
my gosh.
no, I had a Ryobi impact driver that I
Yep.
bought, and I had batteries die for it 2 winters in a row, and they were both
Wow.
on the charger. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then we had already had Brad had brought his DeWalt drill driver in, and we were using that for deburring and everything for the longest time, and had zero issues with it. And so I bought a really, really nice DeWalt impact driver when I started working on my car again.
Yep.
And then I got a drill driver for Christmas last year. And then I just bought one. Actually, I got the only one that Dan's Discount Tools had. Like they were posting on Instagram about like a 30% off summer sale. And they had it was only the 12-volt max lithium ion ones, but it was one left, two batteries, charger, and the drill driver. And with the coupon, I got it for like $60 shipped.
What the heck?
Yeah, and I was like, "Yep, sold." Like that, I'll take that.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan. They work really well. The batteries seem to last forever. That impact gun I have is like it. Both Brad and I, every time we use it, we're like, "This is one of the best tools I've ever bought." Like it's so
Yeah.
good because it's got a smart mode on it too. So when you're impacting something off, the second it feels it go loose, it stops for a second
Oh,
so
interesting.
that you don't like spin the nut off and lose it. And then when you're tightening things, it'll tighten it up and cinch it up and then wait a second before it impacts it if you just want to tighten up a bunch of bolts and not like, give them a bunch of ugga duggas right there.
Yeah, it was funny. I was doing air compressor maintenance a while back, a couple weeks ago, and I was messaging Nick, who also has my air compressor, and I'm like, is your oil cap nut thing this tight? He's like, yeah, mine was tight. I'm like, impact question mark? He's like, and I'm like, I'm gonna try it. So I had this long, like 12-inch extension to get to this nut or whatever, and like one little trigger press and bop, it's just off. I'm just like, this is yes.
That's crazy that it was that tight.
Yeah, it was weird, but like I love DeWalt. I've got their let's see, impact, normal drill, their little bandsaw, sander, anything I can, I'll buy their stuff. Like pretty much just because it looks cool.
Yeah, it works so well. Like
Oh,
I'm
and the
a
chop
big
saw
fan.
for even cutting aluminum works amazing.
Oh, really? You have their shop saw? Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, it works very well actually. Just with the blade that came on it, I just cut aluminum all day.
Really?
Yeah, I just every now and then it'll want to chip weld, so you just spray a little WD-40 on it, and all the chips just come right off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it works great. Other than the mess it makes, that's why I just buy stuff cut now.
Well, very cool. Yeah. No argument for me on that.
Good, good, good.
And then he also asked thoughts on Harbor Freight toolboxes.
I didn't know what the HF standed for there, so
Oh yeah, sorry, I was being quick as usual, putting the questions in.
toolboxes. I mean, I've got a toolbox from them, but I don't. I'm assuming like the kind of like the Husky knockoff ones.
Yeah, it's what is it, United General or something like that is their brand, I think.
I've never used them. I remember I went in a couple months ago and I saw them, and as you do, you like play with the drawers a little bit. I'm like, these aren't that bad.
I've got two, and I love them.
Okay.
From what I've seen, like unless you want to spend $10,000 on a Snap-on,
Yeah.
like they're all made in China anyway. So I usually just buy the one that has like the best features, whether it's Husky or Harbor Freight or whatever. So oh, it's U.S. General. That's their brand or one of their brands. And yeah, I've got two of the. I guess they're not identical. I've got one of the 5 drawer and one of the 4 drawer, I think,
Okay.
and they're both awesome. Like they're perfect next to the machine tool carts because
Yeah.
they've got a big open top, and like we just keep that closed. And then yeah, between 4 and 5 drawers, and they're usually $200, and like you can always with Harbor Freight you can always get like deals on them. So I
Oh
think we
yeah.
got ours for 180 maybe or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's your answer right there.
Yeah, big fan. Like they're if it's all Chinese, you might as well go to China store and buy it
Yeah.
from China directly, more or less.
Yeah,
Um,
seriously.
like we've got a Husky tool cabinet as well. That's like the big long one with the wood top, and like I love that too. And we got it on clearance or sale or whatever.
I
So
really want one of those.
yeah, I probably when we get the kitty gun, I'll probably get another one so that both machines have one.
Yeah, that'd be
Because like we
nice.
keep our soft jaws in the top drawer and then a bunch of other stuff, but it's super nice. So yeah, I just buy whatever's best for the job. It's all there's no like country loyalty there that you can really. It's like, do you want China or do you want China under a different name? So
Yeah.
just buy the one that's cheaper and that looks good. They're all good though.
Yeah, whatever works for your application.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he says, "Do either of you have plans on buying a lathe?"
I don't have anything.
Round.
No, I could totally use a lathe. I have either turned down jobs or had to sub them out or pass them on to other shops because I don't have a lathe. But it's not enough work that I could just be like, "Yep, I'm going to buy a lathe today." Like there
And
was a
we've
really
talked
good
about this,
deal.
I feel like a while back too.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I feel like every couple months. Like there was a really good deal on a Takasawa, I think, brand new ones, like a month or two ago, and I was like, I just like I I don't know. I wouldn't mind a 2 axis lathe, but I'd love like a 3 axis lathe.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. I was talking to someone today. I'm trying to remember their Instagram handle because they have a Sugami M something 08 or M08Y, and that thing sounds pretty killer for like the price. Because I think I was talking to Luma Labs about that too on the Discord, and like, oh, it's John Fettig. He's got a Sugami lathe, and like it seems like it's a really nice machine. There's some clearance issues that he has, but besides that, it's pretty badass. It's a 6 axis lathe, M08 SY. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
I don't really need one. I have a couple products that would be nice to have one, but I also have a mill that would work just fine. My
You can make
first
your own ejector pins.
Yeah, whatever.
That's a total good reason to buy a
Yeah,
lathe, right?
$3 part on McMaster. Um, but I think yeah, it was the first lathe I ever ran was a Takasawa. Um, super kill. You can look back in my feed and see me running it. It was at school, and I just remember I was in like the manual class, and I remember the like seniors in this program and the CNC part of it, one guy was running these parts he designed and whatever, and like he was like, Peyton, you want to like learn this? And I'm like, yes. I'm like, this is why I came here. I didn't come here to run a Bridgeport, um, even though I learned a lot about that. But like, I just remember I had so much fun watching how fast that thing moved, even though it was just two axis. Like, I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for turning, and then especially after me working at a Swiss job and my old job working on a DMG NLX 2500. Isn't that like the pretty standard lathe?
Uh, DMG, yeah, NLX is their I think their twin spindle one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I just remember making some crazy parts on that too. So it's one thing I think for us too is like it's just a whole nother like catalog of tooling, and that's just dollars right there. Like you
Yeah,
can't use like I can't use a Cat 40 tool holder on that machine anywhere.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like
Well, and
yeah.
not only that, like if you add a y-axis and you add a sub spindle or something like that, like just collets alone for both spindles would be
Oh yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So not really looking into that anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, if the work came my way, like if one of my customers was like, "Hey, we need you to do, 10 grand a month in lathe work in addition to what you're doing right now," I'd be like, "Okay, I'll buy a
Yeah.
lathe. Like that's okay. I'll do that." But
Until
until
that
I
fantasy day comes.
right, yeah, exactly. Until I see money in hand or a contract signed, that's just that, yeah, a fantasy for now. So
Yeah.
so
I'm trying to remember. I
our
had something to say.
oh, okay, go for it.
No, I can't remember. Go for it.
I was gonna say, what did you research this week?
Oh shoot.
Your
Uh
favorite segment.
yeah. How to get out of a hole quick. Oh
Did
man,
you do any more skateboarding?
I haven't had time. I'm so mad about that. Like, I had this buddy hit me up. He's like, "You want to go skate?" And I'm like, "Dude, like, I feel like such a dick for like saying no, but like next weekend, which is coming up, and I'm like, oh no."
Remember,
Like,
kickflip by September.
oh yeah, whatever. Um,
I
like, man, dude, yeah, I want to though. That's for sure. What research? Um, let's see. Let's go back to my history tab here. Da, 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 da.
It's like cheap labor,
Yeah,
Washington.
cheap. Oh, that is one thing I wanted to mention is I had been paying some of my friends to come over and help mold parts while I set up my mill, or I was running for 3 days straight, op 1 through 4 on these parts, and it was a 22-minute cycle, which is actually pretty quick. Um, and so every 22 minutes I'd run down and I'd swap parts because like I'm not going to sit down there for 22 minutes and just sit around. That's ridiculous. um, so I'd run back up here and like either be UV printing, emails, packing orders, all that stuff, and all while one of them or two of the guys were either prepping parts for printing, there's a little bit involved in that, or either molding parts on my manual machine, which was really nice because like I started him out because he had never ran the machine on a really simple part, simple mold, and I mean he knocked out. There was 4 parts per sprue, and he knocked out I think 2,000 of them.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and I mean they're pretty quick. And then another like 300 of another part, and I'm like, dude, I'm more than happy to pay you, hourly. And I was paying him, I would think, a pretty good rate for Washington State. So it worked out for both of us. And he keeps texting me. He's like, when can I come back? And I'm like, dude, I got so much work for you. Don't even worry. Like, just like, let me get my sanity back and you can come back.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. There was one more question from Jake Yates that I forgot to put on there.
The boy.
Let me find it. We had talked about something else, and so I had forgotten. Oh, okay. So it was actually for me. He said both being that Brad and Dylan both have full time jobs. Do we pay ourselves at Proteum, or do all the profits go back to the business? And I think I've talked about this maybe 6 months ago or a few months ago, but currently we don't pay ourselves. It all goes back into the business, but I think that's probably going to change fairly soon because like our accountant was like, you should be paying yourself. Like I'm pretty sure that you should be.
What's
And so
Saunders saying? Like, if you can't justify even $1,000 a month, it's still a hobby
I didn't know he said that,
or
but yeah,
something like that. And it makes sense. Like, if you can't pay yourself $1,000 a month, like the fact that I'm not paying myself even $100 a month is ridiculous. Like, but
right,
it's
yeah,
just my mindset, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, and really, I think that that's what it comes down to is like the mindset. Like we haven't. Well, I haven't ever gone down the path of like payroll and like figuring out, okay, now I gotta, because like the second I start paying myself, I also have to do workers' comp and I have to pay taxes on paying myself twice, and things like that. So there's a lot that like comes up when you start going down that path, but at the same time, that's where I want to go anyway. So we
Yeah.
might as well get it. We need to get it done anyway. So yeah, I think I'll probably schedule a meeting with our accountant in the next couple months and get that rolling or see what she says and all that. But yeah, right now profits go back into the business, just so we can keep growing. By buying screens for order fulfillment and order tracking and tooling for the machine and stuff like that.
It's almost
And
like at our stage, we're trying to like grow as quickly as we can. So like, I don't know about you, but like if I paid myself $1,000 a month, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like Payton has $1,000. Like BrickTactical is $1,000 less and like what is Payton really gonna do with that $1,000? Probably just put it in the bank, or he could just keep it in his company and like get that much further down the line by buying whatever.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, like growth eats cash for breakfast, so having more cash is ideal. Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely need to start heading down that path. And Brad and I feel like this far in will feel good. Like right now, it's just a ton of work for very little tangible payoff. Like, oh yeah, we've got an awesome company, we've got some cool machinery, we've got a place we can go work on cars, but not like, oh, I'm also getting paid money.
Yeah,
Like,
like eventually, as weird as it sounds, like that's gonna wear off. Like you're gonna be like, all right, where's the check? Like I'm putting in too much work here.
oh, there are 100% times that I already feel that and
Yeah.
have felt that in the past. It's like,
Why am I
why am I,
here?
yeah, why am I killing myself for nothing?
There
But
was a new hip hop song by Logic, and his line was because he's retiring as a rapper, and I thought that was interesting. And his lyric was, "Why am I killing myself?" Or he was like, "I'm killing myself to make a killing," and I'm just like, literally me, like.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, if Proteum's a few grand less a month, but Dylan has some money in his pocket and Brad has some
And
money in his
feels
pocket.
good. The morale's up. That's worth a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, I'll be able to finish my project car earlier and all that fun stuff. Save up some money. So we'll see. I thought that was a good question though.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you come up with what did you research this week?
Oh yeah.
I'm
um
not letting you skip out on this.
Honestly, I'm trying to find something that really sticks out. It's just like random stuff. A lot of YouTube videos here. Yeah, I honestly nothing's oh, I guess I did okay. I looked into I didn't know what they were called, so I have just like a wooden stool um down by my machine in my desk where I have a laptop for like posting and programming if I need to. Um and it's really not comfortable, especially when it gets hot. And it's just like I'm not sitting on this stupid thing for like 12 hours. Like it's just not happening. And I'm like, I remember in school we had these really tall, like swivel chairs. They were super nice, and I don't think I'll ever be able to find the exact ones, but like they were literally to the point where there was only 5 in our shop school, and like it was like the second they took roll call, we would run to go get these chairs because they were so nice. Um, and I'm like, I want something like that. So I ordered they're called like drafting chairs, like the really high up ones. And I didn't know that was like the keyword to search for, but I ordered one on Amazon. It'll be here Friday. Um, and so I'll put that together and I'll have a much comfier, swivelly, rolly chair to sit on. And I'm excited for that.
Nice.
So, like you said, those little improvements.
Yeah, it really is like the little quality of life stuff is so big.
Yeah.
I
It's
can't overstate it enough. It is just like you're already spending so much time at your shop, you might as well be comfortable there because otherwise it's just a miserable experience all around.
Yeah, like $100 or however much the chair was, $200, like divided by however much time I spend down there. It's like, yeah, I'll pay $1 a day for the next 200 days or whatever. Like, duh.
Right. You would probably pay $5 a day for the
Exactly.
next 200
Exactly.
days. Like,
Yeah. Give me some throne to sit in.
yeah, exactly. So that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
What about you?
So I've got one on the list, and then I realize I've got a couple more in my history that I will I'll talk about. So the first one is we got my girlfriend and I got recommended on YouTube all these tiny house videos, or it started with one, and then we just like went down this deep rabbit hole of watching all of these tiny house tours. Because I guess it's super big in Australia and New Zealand. Because property values there are just insane in the cities.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember. I think it was in Sydney or Melbourne. They were saying like the average house price was $1.2 million,
Whoa.
and so there's so many people that are like living on their parents. The parents will have like 3 acres, and so they'll take an acre of that and build a tiny house on there for like 80 grand and live debt free in a tiny house that's like 400 or 500 square feet. Um, So we went down this really deep rabbit hole. We've probably watched 20 or 30 of these videos. Was it Living Big in a Tiny House on YouTube? And
Oh
there's this
boy.
one guy who built his own tiny house and then now travels the world interviewing people and checks out their tiny houses and stuff. But it's just really like it. I don't know that I want to live in something that small, but like their their philosophy and the way they go about their storage and building it is very interesting, and I would love to do something like that. Like every little there is no wasted space. So like every stair going up to the next level has storage built into it, and every nook and cranny has some kind of little storage for something specific. So that was it's really cool. Actually, I really enjoy the videos, and the guy who hosts them is really great. The other thing I was looking at today was a flight controller because I really want to finish my quadcopter project. And I think I posted about it. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on here,
I think
but
you
like,
did once.
so yeah, one of the first full assemblies I designed was a quadcopter that then turned into a X8, which is like an octocopter, but with 4 arms. So there's a prop on the top and the bottom of each arm. And like I machined all the components except for the mounting holes for the motors because I didn't know what I was going to use. And the arms are carbon and aluminum, and the base is aluminum, and it's all pretty much done except for the electronics. And so today I was like, I wonder if I can get spend a couple $100 and get that thing just flying and done, and like finally finish that project off. So I was looking at flight controllers from DJI. They have like a commercial one, but I'm sure it's thousands and thousands of dollars because it's like a super serious setup. And then there's other ones that are more open source and easier. But so I was looking at that today. And then the last thing I've been heavily looking into is a clutch for my engine swap. And the reason I brought this up is that Dennis, FF Metalworks on Instagram, made a meme that was like the parts that I wish they would talk about. And it was a picture of a AW11 MR2, which is my car. And then it was the parts that they actually talk about. And it was like a Lego car. And I was like, yeah, okay. So yeah, I've been looking at upgraded clutches for my car, and for some reason they are stupid expensive. Like Brad is building his E30 BMW, and like a upgraded clutch for that was, I think he got it for like $150 or $160, and a stage one clutch from Exidy for my car, which is like, it doesn't hold all that much power. It's better than a stock one, but it's $350 to $380, and like I've pretty much annoyed every seller on eBay by offering a lowball
Yeah.
offer on them. Like I annoyed one guy so much that he just pulled the make an offer option from his listing.
Damn, Dylan.
And I don't understand it. Like I don't know why they price them like they do. I don't know why people are holding on to them, because this clutch literally fits like 2 years of Celicas and 2 years of Lexuses, and or yeah, Lexi. What is the plural of Lexus? Lexuses. Um. Anyway, it's been driving me nuts, because as of a month or two ago, I committed to buying at least one part for my engine swap every single paycheck, because I didn't want, like, I've got all these parts to buy, and the last thing I wanted is to be like, oh yeah, I'll do it next year. Oh, I'm going to save up some money, and it's like, no, I'll just buy like a few $100 of parts here and there, and then finally I'll have pretty much everything, and then I'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
So those were the three things that have been kind of standing out as far as researching this week.
Okay, I thought of something that I wanted to
Okay.
talk about, and I finally found video footage of it, and this is amazing, and I'm sending this to you. So, my ideal dream machine is now, I guess, a reality here. So, there's a
Oh, is this
DM.
the thing you posted in your?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's a DM2 hooked up with a Trinity pallet system, and it's a robot, and it's got, I don't know how many pallets, but this looks insane. And it's hooked up with a 5th-axis rotary table. Pallets automated. This looks insane. I'm watching these videos. I just found these.
So is that the TRT 100?
I would assume so with how small that looks. Yeah.
So I think that'd be more than capable for what you want to do.
Yeah, I already reached out to Selway and they're going to email me. I'm like, send me videos, pictures, pricing. Because, like, it's not that big.
No, like you could totally fit that in the space that you have your DM, from
Yeah.
what I've seen. And for anybody who wants to go see it, Derek Goodwin _ on
Yeah, I'll
Instagram.
post this on my story. I'm pretty sure I can do that.
Okay, yeah, post it on your story. It might be gone by the time they listen to this, though. So if you guys want to, it's Derek Goodwin _ He works for Trinity Automation, and it's like the third or fourth video back, and it's It's a DM2 with the Trinity AX1 automation system.
This is pretty trick, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I wonder what robot that is, because it looks like Fanic colors, but it doesn't look like any Fanic robot I've seen.
Yeah, I remember looking at
Branding on
their stuff in person, and I can't remember if it was Fanic or not.
it. If it is, then it's completely unbranded
Yeah,
Fanic, which is. Oh, actually, that brings up another good story point thing. I Fanic has been doing a lot of webinars over the past couple weeks, and at work last Thursday or Wednesday they had one on automation and automating manufacturing and all that stuff, and it was really, really cool. Like, a few takeaway points. Their head of automation or sales or whatever said that the number one error he sees in people trying to automate things is saying the words, I want to replace this person with a robot. And he said that that's like the worst way that you can enter an automation.
because that's not the point.
Right. He was like, people are really good at working. Like you forget how good we are at using all of our senses and working and all that. He's like, you need to start from the ground up and say, I want to make this process automated. Not like, I want to replace Mike on machine 20 with
Yeah.
a robot. That's never, you're never, it's never going to live up to what you think. Whereas if you're like, I need to take this part family and automate it completely, that's an entirely different discussion. And like at Fanic, they really encourage you to like reach out early. They say and like say, hey, here's my goals. What can we do together? And like
Interesting.
they will go through so many hoops. Like they have a tool on their website that will help guide you to the right automated choices. They also have another service where they'll actually come out and do like an audit of all of your Fanuc systems and let you know like where you can upgrade, where you're sitting, and things you can do with them that you're not doing, which I thought was really interesting.
Huh.
But the other thing that they were talking about is that they're doing combined vision with robots, which is not anything really new, but they're able to use it. They're able to use the vision combined with the robot movement to refine where the robot's actually going. And so, like, they were showing a robot that was drilling these holes in these bushings, and it'll actually move up towards the bushing and do like these little moves where it's tracking where the drill is in relation to the camera and the robot arm, and then kind of does a PID loop. So it figures out exactly where that's not backlash, obviously, in that system, but the error in that system is. And so they can refine with the camera the actual movement of the robot far more than what the stated robot accuracy is.
Okay.
And like in one case, they were showing this insertion of a pin into a hole or like a piston into a hole, and the fit between the piston and the hole was 50 microns, and it could do it repeatably because it had both a high accuracy robot, a vision system, and a force sensing system. And that by using all three of those in conjunction, it was able to still fit this pin with only 50 millionths clearance into this hole.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it was a really, really cool presentation. And unfortunately, the link that they sent me like is passworded and all that stuff. Otherwise, I would just share it on my Instagram because I think it was pretty special for what I've seen come out of Fanic. Like it wasn't very markety. Like some of it was blah 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 marketing stuff, but like there was actually some really good insight in it. So if you're at home still, or if you're bored at work or something like that, go over to Fanic and they have a bunch of webinars that they're running all month. It looked like.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, but it was super cool. But the biggest takeaway is, yeah, don't try to replace a person. Try to automate a process and reach out to these companies early on because they have way more experience than you most likely in doing these things, and so they can guide you away from really big pitfalls early in the stage. Like you could, I feel like from what I've heard from actually our local UR integrator is that like instead of reaching out early and being like, hey, what machine should I buy to pair with your robot, they just like buy all these machine tools, buy all these tooling, try to make all these processes that work with people, and then they're like, okay, now we'll add in the robots, and it's like
Wrong
it's not
way
the
to
best
do
way
it.
to do it. Yeah, that's not the best way to do it. So if you've got a solution or something that needs a robotic solution, definitely reach out to Fanic, UR, whatever, early on, and try to get that all sorted.
Yeah. Other than
And
that, I got
yeah,
nothing.
no, I think that's about it for me. I mean, we just had our first video podcast. So again, if you haven't seen that, go over to our YouTube channel. It's with Intolerance Podcast, and check that out. Let us know either in a DM or something if you'd like to see more video podcasts from us, and keep pumping out those memes if you got any more ideas or if you haven't entered yet, because we're going to close that down on Friday. What did I say, the 7th or the 8th?
Yep.
Friday the 7th, and then we're going to next week we will let you guys know who won on the 11th.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week with the winners, and we might have a guest. So stay tuned.